Eli Nagash, the neglected fourth son of a duke, was abruptly appointed feudal lord of the 12th Dominion and exiled from home at 15. So, as he walked toward his desolate new land, Eli reflected on his status as an unwanted child born with plant-based magic, deemed useless by noble standards. And realizing the territory had been abandoned for centuries, Eli sensed his family saw him less as a noble and more as disposable pest control. But then, a sudden headache struck, flooding his mind with vivid memories from his past life in a modern world. Thus, Eli understood he had reincarnated into a familiar MMORPG, though his recollection remained fragmented. And although he couldn't remember his old name, he clearly retained magical knowledge, especially about the game-like mechanics. So, looking at the wrecked shack he now called home, Eli resolved that it definitely needed major renovation, or a miracle. And relying on his past life knowledge, he activated a spell to construct a large treehouse using plant magic. Soon, a massive treehouse sprouted from the ground, forming a grand wooden home powered by nature's arcane force. Though the magic left him with low MP, Eli proudly admired his new treehouse, the first major step toward reclaiming his future. Inside, he found the treehouse cozy and functional. Even the bed was fluffy enough to call it a solid first attempt. And still fatigued, he cast another spell to conjure a magical fruit, hoping it could help him recover. The spell worked again, creating a magical fruit-bearing plant useful for making MP recovery potions. So, as he tasted the sweet fruit, Eli reaffirmed his goal to surpass his household, despite his lack of domain or allies. 2 weeks later, his harvest was plentiful, and just then 2 Nyafu merchants arrived, requesting an audience with noble Sama. As Eli welcomed them, they introduced themselves as representatives from the Black Moon firm, seeking permission to pass through his land. And after granting permission, Eli received a token of thanks, beginning his first diplomatic exchange as a lord. Then, seizing the moment, Eli offered to sell them his magical healing fruit, proposing a potential trade. Their excitement exploded when they recognized the fruit as a rare heal berry, now nearly impossible to find. Although slightly overwhelmed, Noel apologized for the excitement and explained the global shortage of such berries. In response, Eli confirmed the scarcity of healing potions, and Noel admitted her firm's production had collapsed due to ingredient shortages. Even more amazed, Noel observed the berry's radiant blue color, signifying extraordinary quality. So when Eli offered to sell the berries, the merchants were elated and grateful beyond measure. And when Eli revealed an entire crate full of berries, their joy turned into awestruck gratitude. Then, Noel quietly asked if future trades would be possible, referring to the berries' ongoing availability. Eli affirmed her question, and she excitedly added that their partnership would be mutually profitable. With a smile, Eli agreed, acknowledging the deal helped him too, sparking glittering cheers from the Nyafu squad. After a quick appraisal, Noel announced each berry was worth 20 gold, far beyond Eli's expectations. As Noel explained their rarity in the market, Eli processed just how valuable and fortunate his harvest truly was. Holding the coins in awe, Eli noted it was the most money he had ever seen, at least in this life as Eld. So, with newfound wealth, he asked Noel if it could be used for food, and she assured him joyfully. Then, with grand determination, Eli declared he would fill his belly that night, with non-vegetarian food no less. Meanwhile, the Nyafu merchants were still reeling from the discovery, unsure if such rare berries needed further investigation. Yet Noel reflected on how kind and smooth the transaction had been, despite the risks of dealing with a noble. They noted that giving land to someone Eli's age meant great expectations, and he handled it all without conflict. Noel felt the Nagash Duke House might have given him the healberries to develop the territory and noted his determination. Inspired, Noel declared they would help build a base and support Noble Sama, rallying her team like a fuzzy general. She formally requested to live in the land and promised they'd pay proper taxes, including in berries. At their meeting table, Eli wondered if they were fine with the barren state of the land. But Noel insisted they were used to tents, and Eli officially accepted their residence, much to their joyful meowing. One Nyafu became teary-eyed upon being called Feudal Lord Sama, and Eli sheepishly admitted he was just emotionally moved. Noel said tents would suffice, but Eli insisted on building a proper house using magic. In seconds, another massive treehouse sprouted, stunning the Nyafu who hadn't expected botanical architecture magic. As he guided them to their new home, he explained he'd construct more slowly due to magical limits. Though they offered payment, Eli refused, prompting them to pledge their loyalty as proud, squeaky-voiced subjects. Meanwhile, in the city of Zanzas, Noel visited the pharmacist guild where certain alchemists lay sulking. Anaria lamented her inability to make potions, as the market suffered from a dire lack of ingredients. Then Noel dropped a crate of heelberries on her desk, causing a dramatic and fruity revelation. Anaria was stunned by both the amount and quality, stating they couldn't even be found in the capital. Noel proudly shared that they came from a noble's land, one who was a genuinely good person. She then requested Anaria join the land's development as its pharmacist, explaining the abundance of ingredients. Overjoyed, Anaria immediately accepted, claiming no one was more perfect for the role than her. Her enthusiasm was so over the top that she scooped Noel up and declared she'd travel anywhere for potions. Back in the village, the Nyafu continued to admire Eli's daily house-building skills and appreciated the comfort of shelter. They also shared confidence that Noel, being influential in Zanzas, would return with someone highly skilled. Sure enough, Noel returned dramatically and announced her mission's success with a proper paw salute. Eli welcomed her back, and Noel introduced Anaria, the top pharmacist of Zanzas, though a bit eccentric. Overwhelmed by the scent of heelberries, Anaria exclaimed in joy while confirming the land's magical richness. She introduced herself as Anaria, the Vice Guildmaster of Zanzas, and apologized for skipping formalities. Eli introduced himself as Nagash and silently thanked the monarch she could hold a conversation. Anaria showed her equipment-filled carriage, and Eli felt reassured knowing Noel had approved everything. The tools included monster-made instruments capable of creating rare potions that cured abnormal conditions. When Eli casually listed effects like confusion and paralysis, Anaria gasped, realizing he had potion knowledge too. She was shocked that he knew a synthesis method long believed lost and respectfully requested to learn it. Eli accepted with ease, saying her staying and working in his land was payment enough. Touched by his generosity, Anaria gleefully declared she'd gladly move in as long as she could make potions. With her arrival, the village population reached 22, and Eli welcomed Anaria into his growing community. Eli welcomed Noel's safe return with a new resident and suggested holding a celebration. The newcomers expressed awe at being invited by a noble, while Eli modestly brushed it off. Eli pondered testing a recently learned magic that consumed the most power but promised significant results. Deciding to try, Eli gripped his hand and invoked the spell. A sprout burst forth and rapidly transformed into a towering tree-like figure. The massive treeman stood complete, its golem nature intriguing onlookers. Eli named the creature Wood, and it responded energetically. He then assigned Wood the task of boxing fruits from his home. Wood diligently carried melons, while Noel marveled at the rare sweetness. They remarked on the high value of fruits for commoners. Eli reflected that fruits weren't high class in his previous life. The Nyafu enjoyed the fruit's sweetness and saw them as generous gifts. Under a breezy sky, Eli decided to make potions at Analia's. As he arrived, a sudden loud scream from inside startled him. Analia clutched her head from a hangover, regretting her actions. She admitted feeling ashamed, but Eli reassured her. Both recalled how much fun they had discussing potions. Eli smiled warmly, saying her happiness made him happy too. Analia blushed but insisted on working. Eli offered to go first and asked her to check for mistakes. He began the potion process, confident in his knowledge. Examining ingredients, he wondered about a certain grass. Analia explained its use in potions and adding it before heating. Eli disagreed with that method, noting it wasn't necessary. He decided to try his own technique. Following his method, he crafted and presented the completed potion. Analia flinched at his approach. She admitted she nearly fainted from the potion's beauty. Eli offered her the first taste to judge the quality. She agreed to test it as the expert. Analia drank the potion in one go. She beamed and declared it wonderful. Her hangover vanished, and she marveled at the herb-free method. Eli noted the quick depletion of ingredients, and Analia remarked on its guild potential. Days later, a Nyafu announced the massive potion stockpile. Eli shared he had also tried creating marketable fruits. Analia confirmed the letters were ready for delivery. Eli had her write many letters promoting his dominion. Analia believed people would come, noting guild inefficiency. Eli asked about adventurers, and she confirmed they'd benefit more by relocating. Noel explained potion shortages and material abundance. Analia added that material gathering adventurers would also come. Eli noticed Wood could now speak. He reflected on how plant magic was meeting everyone's needs. Eli saw his magic aiding prosperity and felt confident in the future. After thanking Wood for a meal, Eli left to patrol but was stopped by Brown. Brown reported seeing a tree statue, prompting Eli's curiosity. Brown said it appeared when the treehouse grew. Eli agreed to see it and Brown led him there. Brown identified the statue as the elf Stella, a famed S-ranked adventurer. Brown explained Stella's statue was a protective charm, and Eli recalled her heroic deeds. Eli sensed faint magic from the statue and considered moving it magically. He tried to command the tree to move, but the magic failed. The statue moved on its own, revealing a living Stella emerging and shocking both Eli and Brown. Stella clung to Eli with teary gratitude for saving her. Yet he pointed out she was still trapped. Eli, still baffled, questioned how his magic on a wooden statue resulted in a strange elf. He tried commanding the tree to move, but Stella only stared, showing no response. Later, Analia examined Stella and found nothing wrong. As Stella thanked Eli and he introduced himself. Surprised to learn he was the feudal lord, Stella apologized for her rudeness, while introductions continued. She revealed her name as Stella Naristar, causing shock when they realized she might be the legendary hero of Zanzas. Brown pointed out that the hero Stella lived centuries ago, prompting Eli to ask how she ended up as a statue. Stella explained her state was caused by the magic item pendant of the Demon Lord. Eli recognized the item's game-like function and drawbacks, and Stella confirmed it. Analia lamented her years as a statue turning to dirt, and Stella admitted it was true. Stella dismissed the long years as unimportant, prompting Eli to ask if she was truly Stella. Brown proudly recounted Stella's legendary feats like using superhuman strength on a dragon. Analia mentioned Stella bending ebony with her fingers. While Stella casually demonstrated, Stella clarified the story was exaggerated, but Eli offered to grow ebony for her to try bending. Stella calmly agreed to the challenge. With a crunch, Stella shattered the ebony, impressing everyone and confirming her authenticity. Eli apologized for testing her and confirmed she was truly the adventurer Stella, then asked about her plans. Stella hesitantly asked to stay despite possibly being a bother. Eli considered her lack of home or companions after being a statue for so long. Eli welcomed her to stay and she vowed to repay his kindness. Stella asked to be called simply Stella, as Brown praised the place. She revealed her past heartbreak that led her to adventuring. Analia and Brown recounted her breakup from public stories, embarrassing Stella. She admitted wanting a peaceful life, and Eli promised she could if she contributed. They laughed together as Stella agreed the place seemed good. She formally placed herself in Eli's care, and he agreed. Days later, Noel returned at the border with a caravan. Eli greeted Noel and asked about the parade. Noel revealed all the arrivals came to live there after her interviews. New adventurers discussed how the territory's potions and environment made it appealing. Eli was surprised to see Analia had come too, despite her guild work. Noel credited Eli's leadership for the success. Noel asked for Eli's report, and he hinted at something huge. Noel gushed over S-rank adventurers as Eli praised Stella's manners. Noel mentioned Eli's magic skills and handed him a guild letter. The letter expressed the guild's desire for cooperation. Eli quickly accepted the offer. He explained he'd been thinking long-term for the territory. He noted Stella as a trump card for guild relations. Days later, Stella worked in the fields while Noel remarked on her celebrity status. Settlers admired the magically grown treehouses. Eli explained he'd made 20 treehouses but needed more, leading to his decision to create them immediately. He began casting Big Treehouse repeatedly. Spectators were amazed by his stamina and magic scale. They realized why the king made him a lord, as Eli modestly thought about his growth. The next day, Eli began talks about working with the guild. Stella noted the guild valued the territory and Eli listed collaboration points. The deal outlined potion sales. Guild requested supplies and migration support. Stella and Analia agreed on potion pricing and utility. Noel explained the guild's transport capabilities. Eli considered the transport viability while Noel noted potions were vital for withstanding attacks. Eli said a condition was met and asked Stella to do a job. He requested she appear at the Zanzas Guild as a goodwill ambassador. He emphasized the people idolized her, and she agreed to try. Eli reassured her she didn't have to, but she said it was more embarrassing than unpleasant. Stella tearfully revealed her loneliness and solo adventures, prompting Eli's apology. Eli asked if they were friends, making Stella and Analia tear up, Everyone affirmed their friendship as Stella smiled. Eli gathered the group in the forest to search for a gift for the Adventurers Guild, greeting them warmly and setting off together. They entered the Western Forest for the first time, with Eli eager to test new magic while Noel sensed abundant resources ahead. Following Eli's guidance, a companion quickly located bombgrass in the southeast and gathered it. Eli realized his new forest sage magic let him identify plants instantly as their names appeared in his mind. Brown praised Eli for finding materials faster than adventurers, though Eli admitted his magic only worked on plants. Eli noted his magic's stronger than expected effects, while Brown admired his observational skills. Eli pointed out silver clovers in the southwest, and Brown mentioned they sold for a high price. Compliments about Eli's plant knowledge were interrupted when he warned the group to stop, sensing a dryad nearby. Brown became excited at the prospect of finding a dryad, noting they hadn't been seen for a century. Brown explained dryads were thought extinct, and Eli cautiously asked if they were dangerous. Brown warned that little was known about dryads, making careful negotiation important, and Eli readied himself to spot it. Eli noticed a towering tree ahead that seemed significant. Approaching the leafless tree, Eli wondered if the dryad was inside, until the white rose dryad Tetetoka greeted him. Tetetoka warmly introduced herself, and Eli assured her they meant no harm as Brown reacted excitedly. She learned Eli had moved nearby and told him the forest was shared, so his presence was fine. Tetetoka apologized for not offering tea, explaining her tree was in poor condition. Eli confirmed the wilting and felt sympathy as she explained they might need to move deeper into the forest. Eli used plant magic to grow a massive treehouse, astonishing Tetetoka. He offered to make more treehouses if she liked, and she eagerly agreed. Tetetoka said her group preferred living together in one tree, prompting Eli to consider options. Brown suggested the Dryads move to Eli's village, calling it a great idea. Tetetoka found the proposal appealing, as Brown praised the village's trees and water. She noted Eli smelled like a life among plants, and he confirmed it came from his magic-grown food. Watch the full video and the next parts in our new channel of Fiction Studio. Link is in the description.